Just a few quick little things. In your folders, and I'll go over your folder a little bit more, but there's these two documents, the color document and then the one that just says Family Life at the top. And this is the minute by minute as far as operations go, and this is the minute by minute as far as production goes. And what I tried to do when I wrote the checklist, which we'll talk about later, is I did these times on your checklist. This is mainly for reference, just in case you're wondering what's going on and you want to look at that, okay? And like, you know, these are fluid. This one's a fluid document, and this is the latest and greatest from Lynn, so it could change by the time Chicago rolls around, but just so you know. And then the other one that's in here is just the manual. But basically what I want to do right now is I want to give you your table maps for your stores, and so these go to you and Linda and Michelle, so we need to make sure we put one in Michelle's folder. And then this is the one that goes in Deb Jeske's folder. And I totally missed that. I thought the cash boxes were going on the table, so my bad. So that this is for Liz and Shirley. So let me do Liz and Shirley first real quick. So again, the flexibility, like what Doug was talking about this morning. Once you get there on site, ladies, I mean, this is the best I could do, knowing the space and kind of the design that we did upstairs. So you can totally do something different. I mean, you're probably going to still need to do your tables this way, but you may have to do something different than what is shown here. Okay, and like I said, I thought there would be room for the cash boxes on the table. Kind of behind those boxes with the receipt printer, but so I missed. I have been out some, so I missed that conversation as far as that they were going to be on top of the POS tables. So, so that kind of gives you an idea what it could look like. Okay, and you saw how the boxes were constructed. Also, in your binder or in your folder, I'm probably going to say binder because that's what we normally call it. I've taken pictures. So that table, that long table that had all the books stacked for the large store. There's a picture, you know, of each section of what that looks like. And then when Deb was working on the marriage pack table, well, first of all, for the large stores, Linda, there's a picture like this, and that kind of shows what you could do with those extra product, kind of putting it around. Those 2 6-foots that have the POS on them. Right. So where the POS and the cash boxes are on those side tables, and you could kind of put the caps. Right. Yeah. You're not gonna. This is where you're gonna have to be flexible. You're not gonna be able to grab their stuff and set it on the table and check it out like you're used to at a WTR. You're gonna probably kind of have to. The persons that you're gonna have 2 people working the machine, and so one person's gonna kind of have to hold it and scan. You know, you're not gonna have probably room on the table to set things down. So just kind of keep that in mind too when you're training. Okay. Then this is what I found on the internet that kind of gave us the idea how to use those boxes. So the large stores, instead of the long line, you know, you might be able to pyramid them. Pyramid the boxes. No. This was just an example, but in the large stores, you're going to have a built-in that you probably won't need to use boxes, for one. But then the other store, you may need to do something with boxes to put your T-shirts in. And where do I put them? And it'll be back on the floor. And I will talk about on your table map where we'll put those. Okay? Sure.
Nobody else. I have 2 stores. Okay. What you showed me up there, was that the big store? Or would both stores look like that?
One of the corner stores will be a built-in. Remember when Doug showed you pictures?
Yes.
So the one that you saw upstairs will be the one that was in that large empty corner.
Okay.
Then the built-in, we're just going to have to be flexible. We're hoping everything will fit. And so it will be 2 mirror stores, but we'll just have to see when we get there.
Okay.
Doug doesn't have measurements for that, but the expectation is that it's 2 mirror stores. But they'll be set up differently because it's obviously a built-in. So flexibility.
Right, and so not necessarily yours will look like mine on that.
Right.
And that's one thing.
Our space will be identical,
Right.
though.
Whoa,
Right.
that's loud. That's one thing that Nicole has time and time again, you know, even a couple weeks ago when we were talking about some other things, and she said, no two stores are going to look the same, and no, none of the 3 events will look the same. And even though we've tried to make it as uniform as we can in WTR for our ladies, this is a little bit of a chance to kind of be a little creative too and think outside the box, okay? Which I know you all can do. So don't roll your eyes at me, isn't that? Well, I just mean thinking outside the box. You're just going to have to go in there, just kind of like with the finances. It took me a while, I'll be honest, to wrap my head around what Gary and Sandy were trying to tell us what the scoops and the drops were going to look like. And so you just have a clean slate when you do the walkthrough. And you've got the ideas. We've tried the best that we can to put some ideas down on paper for you, but just know when you get there that it's not going to hurt my feelings this time for you to go against what we've said here. So and take notes. So it'll help us in Portland and DC. So so do that.
And the other thing is we have each other.
Right.
Unlike a WTR where we're on our own, and so I'm of course available on call, but we're all there too. So if you need to pull somebody and say, help me think through this, let's figure it out.
Right, okay, and remember that. So, and chances are too, you all may even get finished with your stores, and Deb Jeske, because they're smaller. So it may be that you can even lend a hand. I don't know what that'll look like, and I won't be there, but just, like I said, we're a team. And that's kind of what we need to remember. I took a picture of those boxes like they were upstairs, and that's in there as well. So, and you can kind of see in this picture when we had the stuff upstairs of how to put stuff on top. And I had that same question is, are those things going to fall off because people are going to be reaching over? And see, in my brain, I was thinking that you'd have some that you could have a line going that way. So, and I didn't think about the doors. We can't block the doors. So, yeah. So just kind of do the best you can, okay? All right. I didn't bring my tub over. My other little part then is the tub. So let me show you what the tub is.
Nicole might have some insight in this. The question for those listening is, will there be lines formed, or how will we deal with that? And we're just going to have to wait and see how the flow goes, I think. And on the big stores where we have the POS machines off of those side tables, I think there will be lines. On some of the small stores, or even the large ones, maybe people will just hand things over, and that person at that register will be able to help our guests. But for sure at the small stores, they're going to be there for the marriage pack. It's here's my marriage pack. That's what I'd like to purchase. So then there'll be 3 registers, and then then the guest will step away, and the next one will take their marriage pack. Yeah. Sweatshirts, T-shirts, they'll grab their shirts and pass them right over is what we're envisioning that to look like. Yeah, here's a mic. Do you want to come join us, Nicole? Please do.
It's going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend on how many people we end up getting in the building, first off. It's going to depend on how the actual booth locations pan out. I've never been to this arena, so I can't help you out there, whereas I have been to Portland. And so Portland Arena has a lot of space, so it's going to be a totally different scenario than Chicago is going to be. And I don't really know, because my experience is with handheld point-of-sale systems, not what we're using up there. And so it's going to be a little bit different. And, I was even talking with Doug that, in some of those really cramped areas in Chicago or even in Portland, do we take the POS out from behind the booth in order so that you don't have lines forming and blocking people from shopping? So there is a lot of what Tammy was saying, opportunity to be creative and think outside the box, and that each booth doesn't have to look the same. So as far as lines forming, we'll just have to figure it out. And I'm not going to be in Portland, but I am going to be in Chicago. I'm going in on Thursday with you guys, and I'm going to go on the walkthrough. And that's part of why I'm going, is I'll be able to help you guys with that setup and being able to cram product into those little spaces.
So it could be that we totally change our plan after the walkthrough Thursday morning.
Absolutely. Right? That absolutely happens. You might get there and say, oh, we've got a better idea for how
or you'll
this
say
will work.
We have a better idea.
And just be open to that too. So, okay. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about now, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Deb to do a part. That way then you're just not listening all to me and all to Deb. We're kind of going back and forth. Volleyball, that's what we did in HR. Every lady will have a tub. And instead of doing it by store number, because not everybody's going to all the events, and sometimes your store number will change. You know, your store 2 and 3, I think, for Chicago, but you could be 8 in Portland or whatever. So I just put the names on the top of the box, okay? So just know that this is your box and how you pack it and unpack it, and if you lose it, it's you. All right? A little bit different than sets, okay? And so inside your tub, you have lots of binder clips to make the T-shirt displays, okay? There's extras, so if they break or whatever, we've put, and thank you to Jenny. Yay. Mm-hmm. These would not be done if it wasn't for my lovely friend, because she helped put these together. So we also have Clorox wipes, because the tables, we don't know kind of what they're going to look like when they come in, and so you can kind of wipe them off and clean them up if you want to. You have 15 clip signs, so just enough for the apparel. And those of you that have double stores, you should have double of what's in there. I need to make sure you have double clip signs in there. I think we moved them over. I don't have extras if they break. So if they break, ladies, you'll just have to figure something else out as far as getting, because all the clip signs are in our Zytec sets for WTR. It was just a God thing that we had just enough that we needed for this, okay? You've got a supply box, and this is where your cash box key is in here, okay? And there's a little thing up here that, that tells you what's in there, okay? And we made new credit card signing pads, so we have those, and then everybody should have 4 or 8, depending on, even though you'll just have 3 machines at the smaller stores, but you should have your bank bags are in here. And then the little baskets, green and red, some have some of these, some just have all these, whatever are in here. And there's trash bags in here to put in any extra packing, but save your trash bag and so you can reuse it for your next event, okay? So as you're unpacking, if you've got packing paper and stuff, go on and put it in there and set it somewhere. And then when you pack up, make sure, I think we put 3 in, so if you lose a bag, you've got some extras, but there's 3. You know how we always ask the hotel for a garbage bag for a packing paper. This is not a hotel. This is an arena. So we put in some trash bags for you to do that, okay? Then at the bottom of it are your skirts, and we'll talk about that in the checklist, but you should have enough skirting for all 3 events if you're serving at all 3, whatever. If for some reason, an extra or 2, and if for some reason you don't or you run out, Deb and Michelle both have an extra tub with skirtings that will go to them in their stores. So you'll just have to get on the line and just say, and I don't expect that to happen in Chicago, but it could in Portland and D.C., so just say, hey, I need another skirt, and they should have some.
So we're going to save the skirts?
No. And we'll talk about that when we do the checklist, or she might do that when she goes to the info sheet. But no, the skirts, all the table covering gets trashed at the end of the event. So that's why you have so many in your tub, is because there's enough for all 3 events. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So that is your resource tub. In a nutshell, and what it won't be, and the list of what's in there is on here. What won't be on there is I just put these in this morning. Everybody should have 2 to 4, depending on if you're doing 2 stores, 1 store, whatever, but at least 2, because the gift card is not on any of the banners. And so you may choose, how we do when we run out of a product, you may choose to put the price card for that WTR gift card just in a easel and set it somewhere on the table.
Small price card.
No, it's a regular size price card.
Right, and that's the thing that's missing in here are the inserts for the clip signs and the price cards.
Okay,
Cliff,
you do have inserts.
right, and Jenny's putting that all together right now. Cliff just finished.
Okay.
So those will the price cards and the clip sign.
And we got to put them in.
Probably so. I don't know that we'll have time to do that because we need to have this upstairs as soon as we can for the guys to put in the tubs in the Zytec. Right. So what'll happen, and we'll go over that in the checklist, or when I do the checklist stuff, but you'll get your tub delivered to you to your store. Okay? I think I'm done.
Okay. If you could please pull out of your folder the I Still Do info sheet. And Nicole, I might have an extra one. And really what the I Still Do info sheet is my random thoughts. So I tried to put it in a logical order that made sense, but it may not necessarily, so just bear with me. And already I've thought of a few things that will, so this will be updated for you by Thursday of next week. So the very first thing is times to mark on your calendar. I just wanted you to make sure. We obviously know when we're flying or driving in. We all know that there's the 8:30 walkthrough to 11 at the arena on Thursday morning. The other thing that I'd like you to put on your calendars is 4 o'clock to 5:30 at the hotel. We will have a staff meeting. So if you are available, Nicole, and would like to join us for that, we'd love to have you join us for that, because that's where we're going to be processing things from the walkthrough. And then anything that changes between now and when we leave on Wednesday, I will email you kind of like a latest changes like we do at a WTR. But if there will be other things, I'm sure, and we'll just talk through them. And that's the point where we'll all be together. Mark and Michelle will be there, and Debbie and Chris Jeske will be there. So as a whole team, we'll be all together to make sure we're all on the same page. And that's the purpose of that meeting from 4 to 5:30 on Thursday. Then the other things are to meet at the hotel lobby at 6:30 each morning, Friday and Saturday, and we will be shuttled to the arena together. Paul will talk more about that at the meeting tomorrow, but make sure that you have eaten breakfast before 6:30. So if you're a breakfast person, okay. I mean, whatever you need to do, if you need protein or whatever. And at the arena, there will be coffee and sweet rolls, muffins or danishes, but if you need real food in the morning, fruit, and there might be fruit, I don't know, but for sure coffee and sweet rolls in the morning. So if you need protein, then please take care of that at the hotel. When you check into the hotel on Thursday, you will be given breakfast vouchers for each morning that we're there, so you and your husband. So I think breakfast might be open at 6. I don't know. And maybe, some hotels, they don't open breakfast until 7 or 8 on the weekend. So I don't know for sure. But hopefully we'll have something, or maybe they can arrange something, or if maybe room service, the vouchers could, I don't know. That's something that we're going to have to figure out when we get on site. And that's Paul's deal, and he is so overwhelmed with details right now. I know I'll need protein in the morning, so I'll be the one to communicate that with you. I'll make sure we figure that out. So I just don't want to overwhelm Paul with
a question.
Debbie needs protein in there. And worst case scenario, bring Cliff Bars or something if you need to. Yeah. And I would recommend that. I'm going to put some protein bars in my bag so that if we can't get breakfast, it is totally okay. We'll be flexible, right?
We just don't want you to go without. If at all possible, figure out something to eat Friday and Saturday mornings.
And the next bullet point is something that you may or may not know yet, but we will not be issuing per diem. We're looking for every way we can be good stewards and cut back on expenses. And so per diem will not be issued, and that's why Paul has negotiated the breakfast vouchers for us. At the arena, there will be snacks and drinks available to us in the hospitality room, or especially on Friday during setup day, they'll come through with a cart. Do you need a soda? Do you need a bottle of water? Do you need something to drink? There'll be a snack type things. And then box lunches are provided for staff and volunteers, both Friday and Saturday. So really, the only things that you will need to put on your one card will be dinner, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. I said to Doug, can we get coffee at the airport? Because, we're going to have to leave our house at 4:30 in the morning. So he said we can do that too. But basically, Tim and Paul said any meals not provided, you can put on your one card. So it's for sure the 3 dinners. Everything else should be covered for us. Can you use the microphone, Liz?
Yeah. What Mark and I do when we don't have a concierge is we bring instant oatmeal, and almost every room has a coffee machine.
Sure.
You run water through, and we just make oatmeal in the morning.
So throw that in, as long as it fits on your carry-on, because we're not checking luggage. That'll work out great. Okay. And Doug already alluded to this morning, but in order to keep expenses down, we are being asked to only check or not check bags, just carry on luggage. So you might have to get new hairspray or something, but we'll all figure that out.
Smaller things.
Yeah. The radios already have been addressed, and we'll learn more about those. Paul said he either will give them to us Thursday for our meeting to hand out, or we'll get them on Friday morning at Family Life headquarters. And he was leaning towards that, so we all know where Family Life headquarters is in the bowels of the arena, and then we'll know where to pick or hand them in the evenings, and then return or pick them up in the morning again. We already have covered that next bullet point, that Friday and Saturday, the associate planners have specific jobs to do, but then on Saturday during the event, your man will be able to be there to assist you and interact with guests or help with printers or whatever you may have needs that come up. Now, at the arena, both days, staff will arrive at 7 o'clock in the morning. And on Friday, we have negotiated with our volunteer coordinator, Cynthia, to have our volunteers check in about 10 o'clock, and they'll be delivered to us by a team captain that we will meet on site on Thursday to our stores between 10:15 and 10:30. So you know how at a weekend to remember we have Thursday night to get the lay of the land and start ahead and do some of our work and get some of our layout or set some things up. And then we have Friday morning, and we just wanted to make sure you have adequate time to get your wits about you and be able to greet your volunteers and have something then for them to do. So on Friday, you can get as much setup done as you want. If the table assignments come quickly and they get covered and your palette is there and you don't have anything else to do, go ahead and grab a box cutter and start opening boxes, and you can set up some of the product and do what you can or able or want to before your volunteers come. Those of you who have the smaller stores, you can tape your boxes, and get those ready and get them clipped. If there's time for that, that's fine. If there's not, that's okay, because there will be plenty for your volunteers to do. But we just wanted to give you time to get what you need done and feel settled and be ready to greet them between 10 and 10:30.
We also have to clip.
Yes, the women at the big store, so Michelle, Linda, Deb, will also have to assemble boxes and clip them. Or, what we also could do is just lay them just face up and put the different, that's what I'm thinking I will do, is just lay the box, like here's the box, just lay it like this, and then put the clip sign on to say the sizes so your volunteers, and just, if indeed they come in the bags especially, because I thought too they'll slip right out and they'll be a mess and people will trip. They don't have to be displayed in a pretty way if your volunteer is just going to go grab a t-shirt size for our guest. Yep, it'll be lined up right on the back. And then marriage pack bags can go in front of it so that it looks a little bit nicer, and then that's where we'll grab the marriage pack bags too. While we're on that, I'll just say quickly, the reason that we're not going to have marriage pack bags on the table at the big stores is because if people grab a bag, they're not going to mean to steal stuff, but you have a bag and think, oh, I want this book too, oh, I want this DVD too, and that will prevent your volunteers from having to dig through that marriage pack bag to see if there's anything extra in there.
They'll be behind us.
Yes, so someone will come and say, I'd like that marriage pack. Great, here you go.
I mean, you might try to find a space once you get everything said and done to put a complete bag up on the table by the marriage pack titles, just so they can physically see what a marriage pack they see the banner, but there's something between the banner and the actual product. So, the marriage pack titles are the first 8 titles on that table in the large store. So you should have some space, kind of just like on that other 6-foot where the cash box and stuff, you should have some space right there that you could set a marriage pack. And you might even want to put one on the other end down by where the We Still Do stuff is. That's where I would probably set it.
Yep.
So, does that make sense?
Yeah, if you don't have one on display, you're not going to sell it.
Yeah. So it needs to be, yeah. Just, you guys know how we do our marriage pack table at WTR, and, so it needs to be, have a display, there. So.
Okay, the next bullet point is things that are going to be different at an I Still Do than normally at a WTR. So, several procedures will not be in place. No customer names need to be captured in the POS system, so that's great. Not even an anonymous Chicago, nothing. And you know when you do a new sale, so you complete a transaction, and at WTR we train our guests or our volunteers, new sale customer, new sale customer. You say that a million times and just pound it in their head. Well, this time it's just new sale. And the cursor automatically defaults to the add item field, so it's ready to go. So you don't even have to say anything to our guests or our volunteers. It could be, I'm assuming we're going to have some WTR volunteers at our I Still Do. I know a couple is coming from Appleton to volunteer with us and work in my store. So, you know, for some of those, if you have those, you'll just have to separately say, this is a little bit different, just track with me here. And you don't have to say, well, at a weekend, remember we do it like this, but here, just don't even say that. Just let them know this will be different, so pay attention when I train. Right. And that's all. So no customer name, no discounts are going to be given on site. We've gone over and over that because obviously city ministry team people will be there, crew staff will be there, other people that are used to be giving a discount, but we just can't do it. We want to serve our guests with excellence, and you are the only one that can do a discount, and it takes time. And so we're just asking them to go to the website or call a GSR and get their crew discount or their RCC discount or their whatever discount they would normally get. City ministry team. Question? Use a mic if you've got a question.
Am I on?
You're on, girl.
Okay, if we want to buy a hoodie, we're going to buy it anyway, and we want it before Chicago, is there any way for us to get it before Chicago? You know, if we want to buy the merchandise.
I would say go online to istilldo.com, and we have an online store.
Okay.
And so there will obviously be a product number. I don't know what our staff discount is, but
Okay. Is there a staff discount, or do you know?
I have no idea, and the hoodie is not on the I Still Do store right now
because it's not
in the warehouse. So there's 3 T-shirts on the I Still Do store that actually will not be at the events.
Oh,
okay. And then I think
planned to not be. They're completely different shirts
right.
than what we've
been
selling.
Completely. There's a long sleeve and then 2 other T-shirts, and so. So those are on the I Still Do store, and then I think some of the branded stuff, the mug and the water bottle, that stuff, I think is already on there as well. So no keychain or lip balm is online. Oh, okay.
What about the hat, though?
The cap is probably online.
The cap is online. Yeah.
So I would say we can check with Tim, and I'm guessing once that merchandise is available, it will be put on the online store, but it's just not there yet because we don't have it. If a guest would order it.
And Nicole was shaking her head that yes, we will have discount. Is that what you were shaking?
I think so.
Yeah. So what that is, what our cost will be, I have no clue. So
now, will you address this? Can they buy the same things at the I Still Do? They can go online and get that same T-shirt, or will it be a different T-shirt?
Well, both. The T-shirts we have on site will be online. And those are the shirts those are the online only shirts.
Okay.
For right now.
And then the event shirts will also be online. Everything we have at the event will be online. Plus more. And that includes merchandise. There was a request to have things like Passport to Purity and we call it the Piranha Book. What's the Piranha Book? Aggressive Girls, Clueless Boys. Interviewing Your Daughters. Well, those aggressive girls are like piranhas. They're awful. They're awful. No, just the Piranha Book. Those we didn't have room for on the tables. They're great resources, obviously, so they will be on the I Still Do store. Dennis may refer to Passport to Purity in his legacy talk. So I don't know. They interviewed our family for that, and I think they said they might use that at the I Still Do. So if it's Passport to Purity, we can direct them to the I Still Do website. So no discounts on site. No special orders. We'll skip this, but will be placed. So if you sell out of something, which we could, but we've really probably won't. When we right now have 3,300 and we've ordered for 7,000. But no special orders will be placed. If we run out of something, we'll check with other women in the stores, and that's where you radio me, and we'll all hear and say, oh, I've got 5 million of these, so you can come get them, and we'll share and distribute product accordingly as needed.
I'm sorry, Deb. I could see that happening though in Chicago with T-shirts with
Yes.
apparel.
Yes.
So check with everyone before you say we're all out. So.
Yeah.
Question on the T-shirt.
Use a mic for question.
Is it on? Okay. Are they sized normal? Are they sized normally, or are they small?
We haven't seen them yet.
Oh, okay.
There are 2 T-shirts. The red is the box cut, and there's a blue shirt that's the Missy cut.
And I believe it's the same size you currently sell at Weekend to Remember.
The gray shirts
so the gray
or
shirts,
the pink and navy shirts.
probably
do you
the
know?
gray. I think
gray.
I
The
think
gray.
that
So
that
gray is
Paul
sized
was
well.
Paul was
it's
really
a
trying to
feminine
get
cut, but it's a
Good.
but it's a
Yes,
generous
yes,
feminine cut.
yes.
I don't know what you sell at Weekend to Remember, but
I don't think so. It's a Missy cut.
Good, because
It's
we
not
finally
a,
got the size right this season, don't
Yeah,
you think? The
yeah.
gray shirts are
Yeah.
finally sized well.
And then the men's is really it's a unisex.
right. The red.
So we're
you
not
can
calling it men's. We're calling
Right.
it
So you can
red
sell
and
it
blue.
Yeah, so you can sell it to women.
But it's more of a box.
It's a
right.
box
It is
cut.
a box
yes.
cut. It's a cool shirt. No out-of-stock procedure will be implemented. The only 2 things that we would need it for would be marriage pack titles and Art of Marriage Connect series, the sample pack. So if we sell out, we sell out and redirect them to the website. Yes. Yes, there is shipping. So we can't say free shipping. I should say no free shipping. And I will update this. Okay.
What if are we directing to istilldo.com? Is that all the books too? Or
Yes.
It will be.
Everything that we'll have. Right now, there's just some branded merchandise up there. So if you go to look, Tim is thinking people are buying tickets. They're excited. They're checking out the website. They'll see a shirt and think, oh, let's order shirts and we can wear them to the event. So it's pretty much just the branded merchandise right now. A few days before the event or maybe the weekend of the event, all the merchandise will be on the website. No refunds will be given without a receipt. And here's why. You guys know how simple it is to give a refund or exchange with a receipt. And without one, like if it's an anonymous guest that used a credit card, that's tricky. Even at a WTR, and there you can find the day that they purchased it and find and this is going to be absolutely crazy. And you know what? I don't think it's unreasonable to say that. We're not going to say hang on to your receipt in case you want to return it. But if they do come to us and say, I can't find my receipt, then say, I'm sorry, we're not able to do a return. Doug, here's... Well, we thought about saying, hang on to your receipt in case you need to exchange something later, training our volunteers. But we just decided not to even use that.
What about us with apparel, though? If they haven't tried it on, that's where we get sometimes more refund.
Yeah, I think we just
Should
don't
we
even
say something
anything.
or
Or
not?
we could say, hang on to your receipt.
So-
But see, if you say it, then you're planting in your head, oh, I can return this.
If they come up for an exchange with the T-shirt.
That's what I was just going to ask Doug. If they do go on a break and try it on in the restroom and they need to exchange sizes, can we do like a WTR and just exchange it shirt for
Yes.
shirt?
Yeah.
Just shirt for shirt.
Take the right size and just take it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, like a WTR, if they're switching shirts, like they're going from the Missy blue shirt to the box cut red shirt, then we need to do a return and sale to the new shirt. Is that true? And if they don't have the receipt, can I just say, baby, can we just do it? Just exchange the shirt.
It's the same price.
It's the same price.
It's probably going to happen for.
Right. Okay, so all shirt exchanges, or is it only if they don't have a receipt to do the exchange? Because you don't, I mean, if the shirt is way too small for somebody or way too big, you don't want them to, you want to be able to exchange it and serve them well.
Are you questioning something?
So you have to have a receipt in order to do an exchange of products. So if someone brings a shirt back and they want a book, you have to have a
Yes.
receipt. Whoa. That's
Well,
not the
and
Walmart
here's
way.
why.
Well, I know, but
No.
Nicole, our POS system's not set up to do it the
so
Walmart
let me
way.
ask you this: is that on the printed on the receipt anywhere?
Can it be?
Okay, that's probably the
Will you
best
write that down, please?
thing
So
to
Debbie
do.
could get that put on the receipt before. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, so then it's printed without you
What
having
would
to put it on
you
the
What would you
banner.
say? Refund or return only with receipt, or receipt required for refund or return?
Or exchange. Because the return implies you're getting money back.
Right.
So, or exchange. And then you can, on a case-by-case basis, do an exchange based on what your system can do.
Right. Yeah.
So receipt required for return or exchange. Ask Debbie to please put that on every receipt.
Yeah, that
And the thing
covers
that
you.
is different about WTR too, I mean, maybe I'm assuming wrong, but I would think that at least we have good chance of people having a receipt because it's only Saturday. You know, at a WTR, they could purchase something Friday or Saturday, go
It's
home.
going to still
or-
be in their bag.
Find them in the system a lot easier without a receipt on a WTR.
At a WTR, you still can. This way, it will be almost impossible because
Because we're not capturing a name.
we're not capturing a name.
So if
And
she,
even though we
yeah.
don't
Which I get, but
before.
most people are used to being able to do an even exchange without a receipt at any store these days.
Yeah.
So that was my only concern.
And we could do that for cash. But see, that's why we just decided we have to make a policy. We could do it for cash, but not with credit cards.
Yeah, so
because
that's where if you
have to
create a
make
policy,
sure-
you have to have it written down.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
on,
That's
on those
helpful.
receipts, it's going. It says receipt required for return or exchange. Is what she asked.
That's
me to
what
put on.
it will be printed on the
But
receipt.
at the bottom of our receipts now, we have that 800 number for special orders. You're not going to have that in the bottom receipts, I hope, because that could be really confusing.
We'll have to take a look
It
at the
doesn't
receipt and
say
see what
special order,
changes
though. It just
may
No,
need
it
to be.
says
says
if you don't
1-800
receive
FL
your-
today.
If you don't receive your merchandise, call
That's only when
1-800.
you have
That's only
No,
when-
that comes out on on other receipts too.
I don't think
Yes,
it
it
says
does.
if you don't receive your merchandise. Is that what it says?
We'll have to look at it.
Yeah, we'll check
I
it.
think the 800 number is on
But
all receipts.
the back to the point about returns or exchanges, while that happens occasionally at a WTR, like you guys were saying, because it lasts 3 days, at our event, I think there's going to be so much less prone for that to happen, because I think people in their mind at an arena, they're thinking, I'm going to buy this thing, and I've made up my mind, and I'm going to keep this thing, and I think we'll have it on there, but I think the chance of it happening,
Okay, this
except
is
for a
creepy.
size exchange on a T-shirt, are going to be pretty low.
Do
Yes,
we
we will.
have to train our people that we're not going to return lip balm? Can we just, like, nobody would really want, nobody would ask for that, would they? So it does have a seal? Okay, I've only seen the one that we just, it's opened. Great.
It might still be good, Doug, when we look at that receipt, I know this is
It just
offline, but to make sure that 800 number is on there, but have something like, if you have any questions, you can call the 800 number. So if they do get home, if they don't try the shirt on that day, and if they do get home and it doesn't fit, or if they can't remember if they have that book at home and they go on and buy it at the event and they want to return the book, that they could call the 800 number and get steps on how to do it, mailing it in.
They'll love
So
us
I think we still need to have the 800 number on there, something with some kind of verbiage.
Okay. No loss of internet procedure will be implemented. You know how we'll just, sometimes at a WTR take a product and wait till the next break because it always comes back up, and we just cannot do that. So if we lose internet, then just say, I'm sorry, our store is temporarily closed. You can check the next break, or istilldo.com. Yeah, yeah. And we'll communicate that by radio. If for some reason the whole arena is
Yeah.
out, then I will let you know.
Yeah,
and
but if you
it's
do have
just your
internet-
store, and maybe the double stores will have one store is on, one store is off. We're just going to pray that it stays up. There will be, like we already said, no inventory detail reports, no free shipping. I'll add those.
So we will do a refund if
Somebody requests, and it's a receipt, because you know how simple that is. Obviously, cash or check, just refund the items they're returning. If it's the credit card, it's going to be the same thing
We need
because
to
it's a
train the
Saturday.
volunteers.
No. RCC
No.
only.
That only.
Only
RCC
coordinators do returns.
And that's in the training script that we'll go over in a while. Oh, Shirley asked if we will train our volunteers to do refunds, and we will not. At the I Still Do, refunds are RCC only. So. And that's in the training script, but I'll add it to this list. Okay, one thing that's not on here that I want to cover very quickly is the all access pass. You might have noticed that up on the banner or in your pictures. That's something Tim and his team have put together, and it's pretty cool for people that come. It's kind of the what's next after I Still Do. So there's going to be a lot of video content. Some of the sessions from the day will be online, and it's going to be 6 or 8 weeks. They'll get additional content and articles and interactive things, as I understand, and it's about like $28 or $29, and it's going to come in an envelope, and in the envelope is a specific code for them to go online, and then they put on the code, and then they have access to the All Access Pass. At each of the events, it is city specific, so the passes that are sold in Chicago will be specific to the Chicago event. Portland and DC will be the same. So we will have a little stack of those somewhere, and they're kind of like gift cards. I mean, they're not as expensive, obviously. They're $30, but you don't want to have them just laying around and have people just grab them and take them for free. So that's the All Access Pass. And it will have a barcode on the envelope, and you just scan the envelope and give it to your guest. Every store will have All Access Passes. Yep.
Do we need to know that it's all in here?
Sorry, can you grab the mic if you have a question?
Okay. Are you going to explain what the advantage of an access pass is, so we can explain it to our
Maybe Tim will talk
guests or
more
something?
about that
Okay,
tomorrow.
so
I
you
mean,
don't really know.
it's
No.
strictly an online thing, and they'll talk about it in the arena. Bob or the
Okay.
MCs, somebody will talk about it and let them know. It's in their manual. So in the back of your folder with the binder clip is a sample manual. It's not all perfect, but you will notice discrepancies already on pricing and things, but it gives you a great idea.
It's on this side list.
And that will probably give you a little blurb about the All Access Pass. So, and we can talk more about that next Thursday, too, at the hotel if you still have questions.
And where you're going to put it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go through this really quickly because we still have quite a bit to go over. And maybe we'll have to just keep going at lunch or something and do separate lunches.
That's fine.
Acts of Renewal is going to be there. You know, the little drama troupe that does, the couple that does things at the WTR. They will be there, and they have a CD that will be on sale, a DVD, and it is not ready yet. It's still in production. So Carol Shores, Cheryl Call, Carol has been talking to Doug, and it is in production. It will not be at the Chicago events. They're hoping it's in the warehouse by that event, but what we're going to we'll still have the price card there, so and that's maybe where you'll want to use a wire rack where the DVD would be placed, and just direct the guests to the I Still Do website to order the product and let them know it should be ready to ship within about 2 weeks. Okay, marriage pack contents. The only thing that's different from our WTR marriage pack is we have a Stepping Up promotional DVD that will actually be placed in every Stepping Up book. And what we're thinking would be best is, instead of pulling every Stepping Out book out of boxes and stuffing them, as you supply your table with the product, just assign a guest for the weekend. This is your job. Whenever new Stepping Up books get put on the table, make sure this DVD is inside. So every book does not apply to the event or the small group study, only the actual book. So it does go in the marriage pack. Along with that is going to be the I Still Do travel mug, the silver coffee mug, and then everything goes in the bag. So marriage packs are selling for $75. So yeah, my next bullet point, please just choose a volunteer that you think will enjoy a special job and give them the Stepping Up job. Giveaways, you will have giveaways. Each of us is going to have the yellow giveaway sheet. It's in your red folder. And by the way, this folder you will bring with you to the event. And then at the end of the event, you'll give to me and I'll bring it home and we'll restock for the next event. I'll get to that later. But your giveaway sheets there, it works exactly like a WTR. If the Holy Spirit prompts you to give a book or something to a guest, then by all means do that. With discretion, like always, don't give away the store. But where we're thinking it may happen is Dennis may be talking to somebody on a break, and he'll say, you go up and tell the lady that I'm going to give you this book. And so do it, and then mark it down on the giveaway sheet and do it. So any of our speakers or artists may do that, and that's why the giveaway sheet's there. Scoops, we already talked about. If you have questions, let me know. Cash drawers, we kind of already talked about. Let me know. And then the last thing for this, before Tammy takes it back, is throughout the weekend, please take notes and make comments on your checklist. So if you find your checklist in your folder, that's what we're going to talk about next. We don't have a specific I Still Do evaluation for you to fill out, but your checklist is, there's lots and lots of blank space for you. And we will take those and look at your comments and feedback and make adjustments then for the next two events. All right, checklist.
Okay, first of all, girls, if you want a clipboard, I went up and found some clipboards, or if you have one at home, I didn't know if you'd want to pull this out during the day and put your checklist on your clipboard. So that's what these are for. If you want to take a clipboard, you can. Okay.
And the clipboard gets packed in your travel bag.
There's not room for it in the tub. Once I put the price cards in the tub, it's not going to happen. So, okay, I just had Jenny is she's putting together, but this is what the clip signs look like. And you notice upstairs, just real quick before I go to the checklist, upstairs where the T-shirts were hanging on the pipe and drape, you'll have some extras to put on, to clip on the T-shirts and hoodies that you're hanging up, okay? So I just thought of how we're going to hang those up. And so I either will have some little clothespins in there, or you could paper clip it, or you could use a small binder clip. So there'll be something.
Those don't go next that one.
So you'll have some extras that just have the price, and then it'll say Missy Cut or whatever. So if you have extras in there, know that the ones that are on the pipe and drape, basically bottom line is you need to make sure it has a price on it too, okay? Does that make sense? Because there's no apparel on any of the banners. Okay? All right. So let's look at your checklist. And these are not necessarily coordinator specific, so there's a place to write your name. The walkthrough, you can go on and write the time there for Chicago. I didn't put a specific time because we'll have a walkthrough in DC. There will not be a walkthrough in Portland. Lunch, and then your meeting time that Deb just went over on Thursday, and then just Thursday evening, you'll have a couple other meetings, just rest and pray, and kind of your final planning. And then I left a lot of white space for notes for Thursday. So this might be when you're doing your walkthrough, you might even want to write notes on here of what you're planning to do. Okay, we move over to Friday. And if it's okay, I'm going to just kind of go through this as quick as I can, and so you can go back in and fill in your space time or the blank lines later. Okay. Friday, then, just to confirm the time, we've said 6:30. Paul may bump it to 6:15 if he does, and you can put that in there. This is when you wear the pink and navy. You're going to get your radios. From what we understand, you'll get your radios when you go to the arena Friday morning, and then they'll tell you what channels, and then report to your designated store. So you can put your store number in there later, and then your assigned AP contact, of course, for you all will be your husbands. Okay? Then Friday, I just went through kind of bullet point. I'm not going to go through these line by line, but it's just basically like what your checklist is for for the WTR. It has the list of what's in your tubs, your price cards. This page is all price cards. Okay. You might want to refer back to that on Friday or on Saturday when you're doing pack up. Friday you should be good because you're going to be the first ones to use that. Those prices.
Back in that order. Then.
Not necessarily. It's alphabetical order. Oh. So just however you put them back in is fine. But just the list was in alphabetical order, and that's the way I typed it in. Okay?
Or we could count them and have a volunteer count at the end. And if you're supposed to have 22 and you have 19, then you have to go through and see what you're missing so that Portland has a full set.
Exactly. Right. And if for some... Huh? Right, just like what I said before, your tub is your tub. So make sure that you make note if we have some extra price cards. So if we've lost them between Chicago and Portland, we can replace them. But you're going to be responsible for letting us know that because it's your tub, okay? The next page, and this is kind of what I wanted to explain just a little bit clearer than what Doug talked about this morning. He talked about that all the guys have a job that they're going to drop the tables, do the pipe and drape, do the computers, yada, yada, yada. And not necessarily in that order. So Shirley may get her computers while you're getting your tables, okay? So I put them on here. Not, it's not necessarily this is the order that you're going to get them, but once you get them, then you can check it off. And so come 10 o'clock or 10:30, when you know your volunteers are coming, you can go back and see what you haven't checked to know what you might still need, and you might know what's kind of going on, that it's coming or whatever, but if you have a question, that's when you can call Deb and say, hey, Deb, I'm missing my tables. They've not been dropped yet. Do you know where they are? Okay? And basically,
if you don't have tables.
Yeah.
Say what?
If you don't have tables, call me before 10 if you don't have tables.
Right. Yeah.
I say 9.
Yeah, I say 9:15, 9:30. And here what I did is I just left a blank line because like Shirley needs 3 tables for your store. You're going to need 5 tables for the big store. Liz is going to need 3 tables. So by looking at your table map, you can kind of figure out what you're going to need table-wise. If you've got a built-in, obviously you don't need tables for that, okay? All right, and then computers, you either have 3, 4, or 8, because in Portland we will have 8.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so if you've got 2 stores, then you might need to put 7 there. I didn't put 7 in there, sorry.
For Chicago only.
For Chicago only, so gear bags. So anyway, so that's what all of this is on the top of this sheet, is just kind of the things that you're going to need to get before your volunteers come at 10, okay? To kind of keep track of. And then the resource palette, he went over that too, how that's going to be delivered, and that was pretty clear this morning when Doug did that. So, and then just prepare, and then the next, starting at 10:30, then it just kind of talks through. The steps are kind of just like what's in your normal checklist. And what I would do, this is going to be totally different as far as your WTR, where you're just second nature to you how your weekend goes, and you can probably go till Saturday evening and not even really look at your checklist, So I would kind of read through this a couple times before you actually go, just so you kind of get the feel and the flow of Friday. A lot of it's going to be the same as far as once setup starts. So you'll need somebody to put together marriage packs and and all that. So that's just kind of what that next set of instructions are.
So the book bans are for their Connect things.
Right. So the book bans are just for the Art of Marriage Connect series. That's the only thing that'll get banded. Right. So somebody else will need to do that as well, or have a volunteer do that, or whatever.
And do train your volunteers to flip one of the books out, because we're not sending starting a small group brochure.
No. And you won't have any scan cards. So like earlier we said, I still do, and for the We Still Do stuff, if you just put in ETH, We Still, those should come up.
And that's in the training manual.
And that's in the training manual. She'll go over. And then the AOM Connect, kind of just normally what you do, because you will not, there's no place to put a scan card.
Wondering about that.
And then the 11:30 to 12 o'clock time, you might want to go on and even highlight that right now, just so you're aware. Because of the situation with the number of volunteers that we have, we are going to have to let Scott Mesker use some of our volunteers for the Gideon's Army for the donation collection. And so at 11:30 on Friday morning, you need to dismiss 1 or 2 of your people to go do that. And Deb had a good point that it probably needs to be somebody that's just going to be bagging. And so it might be that you just need to approach a couple of your couples and, which one of you is going to feel more comfortable being trained on the machine, and then the other one, and send the bagger. Because what's going to happen is that donation time is right after the afternoon break. And so you may still have people in line getting books, and those baggers then need to go to help with the donation. Does that make sense?
And we don't want to close registers because we want to get them into the arena as efficiently as possible.
So how many volunteers do we have at each station?
You should have 3, because you have 3 computers. They'll have
3 couples.
Couples, right? 3 couples. Yeah, sorry, 3 couples, right? And you should have 7 couples and 3 couples, okay?
So what Tammy's saying is, in the morning on Friday, Scott is going to train those volunteers on how to take the collection. So you're going to have to release a few of your people. We're saying for the small stores, 2 people, and the larger stores, maybe 4 people. We'll just let you know on site once we know how many volunteers they have. So what you're going to have to do is assign, figure out ahead of time and ask them who's going to be comfortable working the computer and who's going to bag, because you won't get to your training yet. It's not like you can decide later.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to have to figure that out before.
So when they come, we need to know. We need to ask them.
At least by 11-ish. Get to know them, assign them, and then just casually, hey, Dave and Shirley, out of the 2 of you, which one do you think is going to want to play with the computer, and which one will be the lovely assistant, or, whatever. You don't have to do it as a big group. You can just kind of do it as you get to know them. And then when it comes time,
But
Right.
send a couple.
Yeah.
no, don't send a couple
No,
because
send the baggers.
It's just the baggers,
because
they're working
just
as
the
couples
beggars,
each.
because we need
Right.
the person that knows how to run the computer to keep running the computer. And it may be that we don't. Maybe our stores will be dead. But like a WTR, after a busy break on Sunday, we could be doing transactions for half an hour.
Yeah, I have a feeling your breaks will be a lot like your Sunday break.
Yeah.
All of the breaks will be that, right.
So that's why we want to just release the baggers so we can keep the machines open to assist guests.
Right, and one thing too, just how we do at the WTR, that we always have the couples go to their same machine.
Right.
I would have them stay on the same machine. That again will give the perception that we know you're on this machine, registered, and okay.
One other thing we may want to watch, because we haven't been to this arena,
Yeah,
it's on, is that we don't know which booths will be busy and which won't. So
Right.
it may be that one of you has an extremely busy booth and we can't release anybody, but one of you has a really dead booth because of where it's located, and you can release more volunteers instead of somebody else's booth. So we should know that by the first break and say, oh gosh, I'm slammed, but this booth over here is in a dead spot on the arena. So it might just be something to watch and say, okay, she can release.
So then, if that happens,
retrain.
then he would just have to quick train
Yeah.
somebody before they collect.
Right.
And
but
we
it
would just
might-
let Scott
right.
know ahead of time for the
Okay.
training part.
Yeah,
Okay?
or it might be a better option in
That's
order
a good
to not
point.
lose sales.
That's where the flexibility comes in. So that'll be something that could change then Saturday morning.
Could you send one of your computer people over to that other place?
Oh, that's a good point,
Yeah.
Linda.
And
That's a
then you
really good
don't
point.
have to
Then you don't
retrain?
have to retrain. So what Linda's suggesting is that if
We'll just keep communicating.
yeah. If you have a store that's not as busy as another store, then just send a volunteer to the busy store, and so that you can keep the trained donation people trained to do the donation. So good point. Okay, the next part is just if you have an issue with your printer, I wanted you to have those printer setting. You know how sometimes it doesn't cut right or it doesn't print right. I wanted you to have that handy in your checklist, okay? And then at the end of the day on Friday, like Doug said this morning, you will skirt those tables, the very last thing. Now, those built-ins will not need to be skirted, and I don't know what they'll decide to do as far as putting a tablecloth on top of them, so because they're already built in. So you won't skirt those, but the other tables will be skirted. And just do that at the very end, and I would say just even like right before you're getting ready to dismiss your volunteers for the day, maybe have one couple stay back and help you skirt them or whatever. Okay.
What time are we supposed to dismiss them? I mean, like,
As soon as they're trained, yeah. I mean, by three, hopefully that's our goal. That by 3 that they would be trained, your store set up, and they could go home. Okay. That's where that if you guys get done early, that you can say, hey Deb, we're set up, we're trained, we're skirted. Do you need help? And she can decide then if she wants extra help or not. Okay.
And if we need help, you can help us, and if not, then you could take a shuttle back to the hotel. The shuttles will be going back and forth, the vans, all day,
So
because
some of our
speakers will be coming for sound checks, and so, obviously you dismiss your volunteers, and then, before you dismiss your volunteers, check with me, and then if everything's good. And then Doug, Doug may have use for your husbands, or maybe you could help me or Linda, or we'll figure that out. But if you're totally done and we don't need other help, but always check with me first.
So check with you before we release.
Yes.
That's probably a good practice. Yeah.
But they may
Just
leave at 2 o'clock or something.
Yes.
We're done training,
Yes.
and they may leave at 2.
Yes.
They should be out of there by 3.
I wouldn't tell
I think
them that.
that's kind of our.
but
I
we're
wouldn't tell
hoping.
them that. Yeah, I wouldn't communicate that with them like we do at the WTR. But you just kind of know you have a goal of being done by 3.
Because at a WTR we know how usually within half an hour.
But we really
this
don't know here. So, but it's nice for us to have kind of a goal of, let's keep on track and get done by a certain time. Okay. So Friday, the checklist has a ton of detail to it, bullet points that I felt like were important that you're used to kind of having for WTRs and stuff. So Saturday then, okay, sorry.
Use the mic.
I'm still on the skirts.
Okay.
Where does that go? I mean, after you've trained, the skirts go up?
I would do that the very last thing, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
The very last thing before you say bye-bye arena for Friday night, because they're the plastic. They're the plastic.
There it is. Okay, I couldn't find it.
They're the plastic table drape or skirt, and it's double-sided tape that's going to go, that's going to connect them to the tables. And so the least amount of time that they have to be connected to the tables, the better. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And you're only going to skirt the front. You're not going to skirt around behind, just the front. And so we figured that you're only going to need 2 skirts to do the small stores because they're 14 feet. So you should only need 2 skirts to do the small stores, and you should only need 3 skirts to do your 5 tables for the big stores.
Did we tell them anywhere that your extra product, as much as possible, will fit underneath the tables? And unlike a WTR, I wouldn't take everything out of the boxes.
Right.
Open every box.
So you know what's in there.
Exactly. But then, marriage pack titles go under where the marriage pack titles are on the table. And these titles, just like you do at a WTR. Where there, you take it all out. But
Yeah.
you may have some mixed things. So then you might want to take them out
Some
for the
mixed
mixed
we open.
boxes. Open everything.
But mixed take up.
Mixed takeout. And you know what? Those mixed boxes, put those on the tables first. Yeah. The full boxes put under the tables and replenish as needed. Did we land the plane on packing paper? Did we say
You are
no?
not receiving any packing paper for this event. So consequently,
Just flexibility, remember?
if I could speak 1,000 words, Linda's just spoke 10 million. So you probably aren't going to use those trash bags. But so what I would do is any that you do, of course, save, okay? And then you might want to, if you tear down boxes, publisher boxes, you might want to save a couple of those publisher boxes that you could use to manipulate if you're repacking, okay? And when you repack, you're going to have the Family Life Warehouse boxes from your T-shirt display, and you might have some too. So let's try to pack back in the Family Life Warehouse boxes, and that's kind of on the Saturday where I was headed that we were going to talk about that, the pack up. But okay, yeah, all right.
I noticed we tell the volunteers report back 7 a.m. and wear their T-shirts and credentials. I assume they get those when they check in.
They will
Yes.
check in,
Yeah.
and they will check
Yeah.
in on Saturday as well, and they know that.
Yeah.
They'll check
Yeah.
in. It's in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's across the street from the arena in what's called the Skyline Room. And Cynthia, I'm sure, will talk about that tomorrow or Thursday at Paul's meeting. But they know when and where to check in both days, and then they will be brought to us at our stores each day.
Okay, so let's move on to Saturday, and just really bullet point, just really brief as far as the checklist for Saturday, just so you know when the shopping breaks are, when your scoops are going to be. We already talked about all that, so I didn't go into a lot of detail explaining all that stuff, so you kind of know what to do. I did put in there to record giveaways as you're doing it, and then you're going to need to, the only report that you all need to do is your giveaway. If you have giveaways in your store, you'll need to do that report, okay? Deb will do the end of the day reports, okay? Or report, whatever.
Well, it's only one. It's all one store, and I'll talk about that when we...
Okay,
Yeah.
so she's going to do that report, and she'll kind of tell you how she wants you to let her know when your computers are all shut down, So you need to let her know, but she'll kind of go over that here in a little bit, okay?
Is that on the checklist here? And
It is.
What is? Because
I shut down computers and notify RCC team leader, and she would run the, yeah. As soon as, at the top of the next page.
Okay, got it.
So at the top of the next page, then it kind of starts the pack up process. And so, like Doug said this morning, all your equipment will be taken down by your men, not necessarily in the order that it was put up, but they'll come around and take everything down. And again, if you're getting close to being done, getting all your store packed up and nobody's come to pick up whatever, then you need to let somebody know on the radio, hey, nobody's come to get my POS tables yet, okay? Those 4 or your POS computer tables, y'all need to be responsible for those. So when they're delivered, you need to set them up. Just put the canvas bag underneath the cloth. You set it up, and I think you can lift up the tablecloth and just kind of store the canvas bag in there like that, okay? And then you'll need to be the one that takes them down and gets them ready. And how they're going to come, because of the space, they're going to come with just the legs in the canvas bag, and the tabletop and the tablecloth will be loose. So you're just going to need to leave the tabletop and the tablecloth out of the canvas bag, but put the legs back in, because they need to wrap that other thing around so that it was taking up too much space in the Zytec. Does that make sense? So just have them ready. Okay.
We'll write that down.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't have that in the. I just now thought of it actually.
that'll be where.
Well, here's what we're going to do, ladies, and we've been talking about this. There's been so many things and details to collect for you, and we wanted to do the best we could for today. One of the things I think that needs tweaking is pack-up procedures. So that's something Doug and I said we'll talk about, and maybe it'll be a separate document, or maybe it'll be on the end of the checklist, so that you know what your pack-up, because there are so many things.
Right.
So we'll work on that.
Deb has
We'll work on that
Deb
for you.
has the checklist. I emailed that to her yesterday because as of Thursday, I'm not here for 2 weeks. So, or at least a week and a half. So, so she will have this to tweak or whatever. Okay. And like she said, the pack up. I just tried to go through and follow, what we knew. The labels for your boxes are in your folders, just like we have at WTR. So you've got that. Also, the other thing that's in your folder that we didn't go over is just how things are listed in POS. So that's in here as well. Okay.
And there's that keyword column. I'll talk about some of them so that you can instruct your volunteers. But if you want to go on to Merchant OS and play with it and go in the add item field and just type in, and then you can see just a keyword that makes sense. So if you'd like to even have that available, Saturday your volunteers aren't going to be able to look at that list, but for the most part, it's pretty simple.
And I did kind of do a skeleton thing as far as the pack up of what you need to make sure you collect to get back in your tub. I perceive pack up being your books are already, for those of you that have the large store that have the books, your books are going to already be in a good order to put into boxes, when you're packing up. And so I don't see that it's going to be that difficult, to do that. The stores that just have apparel, that pack up should be fairly simple because you're just going to be putting them back in boxes. And you already have your Family Life boxes, created. And so I don't know that they need to be put back in the ink boxes that they're coming in or the T-shirt boxes that they're coming in. So it might be nice if you want to label them, like if you put smalls and mediums together, but I don't think that's critical because they're going to unpack the stuff when it gets, Chicago will get unpacked. Portland's going to be packed by itself. So what's left from Chicago will probably get put on the DC shipment, but Portland will be packed as a clean shipment, basically. It's not, so Chicago is not piggying to Portland, okay?
As display those boxes we put together for the T-shirts and hoodies. I've worked with a number of different RCs, and not everybody realizes this, but when you put a box for putting it for display, you need to put the long ends first in and then the shorts, because if you put the shorts in and then the longs, it creases the edges, so it's not as good for taping. So I don't know if everybody knows that. That's Works resource. But you put the long things in your box first, then you put your short ends in whenever you make a display box.
Great.
You didn't know that.
One of the things,
a lot of people don't know it.
I do it one time. I don't know which way I do it.
Yeah.
Well, and like what she said upstairs, what Nicole said as far as using those boxes, as far as putting the lip out and all that. So those are the kinds of things that on site you're just gonna have to play with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Nicole talked about slow stores and releasing volunteers. One of the things Doug is going to be on the lookout for, and probably Nicole too, during the event, we may close a store or two after that big break. Just if there really is a store that's dead, then Doug and maybe Nicole too will make that call if we start to do that.
So what you're saying then, after the busy break or the final break, shopping break on Saturday, you may make a call to close the store. So then that would
Correct.
actually be your final scoop.
Correct.
So you would have to they would let Gary and Sandy know that store 12 and 13 are getting a final scoop after the Saturday break.
And then that RCC would just be assigned to help one other RCC and pick up. And
Would they go on and have their volunteers start packing up that store?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yep.
you go
I
on and
think
do a full
that's
pack up.
vision.
Okay. All right. I don't perceive the apparel stores having that deal.
No.
So.
The ones that we're wondering
Yeah.
is yours,
It's
Linda,
just your
because
store.
they're
Yeah.
kind of up behind the stage. So it just depends on how many guests end up buying tickets and coming on the free offer, and if that corner of the concourse is used because it's kind of behind stage. So we'll just see.
And it might see that the first break, 2 breaks, or the one earlier break on Saturday, that people see how busy the other stores are. They may come to your store.
Yeah.
Okay, I think maybe you covered this. We won't scan any items. Is it all going to be entered manually?
Oh yeah, you will scan most
You don't have a
items.
scan
Okay.
card that's going to have
Actually,
barcodes.
you probably won't scan any at the shirt.
I thought you said we aren't going to have scan cards.
We're not having scan cards, but like you buy Sexual Intimacy for Marriage, you scan the book.
The book, but I
you
mean
won't have
apparel.
those. You'll
It
have
won't
all
be-
apparel.
That's why I was wondering
well,
what apparel.
We're told, Tim thought that because they're wrapped individually and then they should have a barcode. We'll
Okay.
train you how to do them, adding items manually, but hopefully it will have the barcode on
Okay.
it. And the keychain won't, the lip balm won't, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Any other questions on the checklist? And I did text Doug, and they're running late too, so I bought us another half an hour.
I love it.
Am I okay just sitting here, Alan, for the thing, or should I move? Okay, great. All right, in the middle of your red folder is the resource manual. If you could please pull that out. We'll quickly go through that. It is different. I cut and slashed and rearranged and everything. The POS manual, it's in the brads that's fastened in the middle. And this is what you will use for training. So if you could go over this several times, practice it, do whatever, because the training is going to be different than at a WTR. And I tried to streamline it for us so that we can just go over a few things. And so let's start on page 3. Kind of the same basic things there. I don't think I really changed anything on there, except for that second to last sentence. Please do not leave your assigned computer station for any reason unless excused by your resource coordinator. And what we'll try to do at the top here, you say, if we have quiet times in the resource center, I will let you sneak into the arena to experience part of the event. The volunteers are told and are expecting that they will not be able to go into the event at all. That's why we're giving them a free all-access pass for the event, and they'll get their T-shirt and lunch both days, and so they're not expecting to go into the event. That's very different than the WTR.
So even if we don't have any...
How are we doing?
That's why I said I will let you sneak into the arena to experience part of the event if it's slow. And maybe you want to keep one couple and then rotate, let the other few couples go in, but keep one. But if it really is dead,
It is a speaker title.
but then we also need to,
You haven't got any more?
you can't
You
leave
haven't
because
had
you've got
any
your
more?
cash there and everything. So if it starts to get busy
Yeah.
and more than you
Maybe
can
that's
handle,
your first
I would
one.
recommend at least leaving
Because that
one
is a
couple.
speaker title.
And if we could let couples going together instead of keep the wife at the machine, let the husband go in, that's no good.
Except we have
So-
to be careful about that volunteer time they need for the donations.
Okay, Liz just said for those listening, we need to be careful for the volunteer time because we'll need them for the donations. That will not be a problem, Liz, because it's right after the very busy break. So you won't have to even think about that. So read through that, a few extra things on page 3. Page 4, here's what I did that was different. In our WTR training script, I changed it up a little because, you know, you've got all those exceptions that are mentioned right away. For this, I think it's better just let's let the guest realize how easy, our volunteer, not the guest, let the volunteer realize how easy a transaction is. So for the very first thing, once you go over a few of the basics, like please don't put food or drink on the table and listen to me and don't get ahead of me and follow directions. Let's just go basic credit card sale. Boom, here we go. And then there it is. So let's bring them right through. They're highlighted in red under item 6 is please place the receipt in the bank bag provided not in the cash drawer. Just let them know that's where your receipt is going to go. Then on page 5 are the kind of exceptions and special issues with the credit card, like if it doesn't scan the first time, try it twice, and here's how you do the manual entry, and all of those regular things that you're used to training on. Credit cards versus gift cards, you always let them know that. So once they do 2 or 3 basic credit card transactions and see how simple it is, then you can go into some of the specifics on page 5. Practice mode, like always. Yeah, and we'll get into for you guys how to log them in. Then page 6 is the 3 different cash sale potentials. Now the reality is at this event we should only have number 1 and number 2. Actually, whole dollar amount is all that we should have, the number 2. Yeah. But it could be that, say their total is $24 and they give you $24. So still train them to use the max button. Or maybe $32 and they give you $32. So teach them how to do the max button, which is the first option. Whole dollar amount is second. So if the total is $32 and they hand you 2 20s, the denomination boxes. The bottom one, I don't think I'm even going to train on because that's the cash and coin but not exact. I left it on here for us, but I don't think you'll even need to train them. Let's talk cash and coin really quick. Debbie has been amazing in getting the prices all set up. Chicago and DC are cities that charge tax. And at first we were hoping just to say, here's the whole dollar amount of the sale, and then back here in the office we just back it out. But Mona in finance said, legally we have to show, if we're charging tax, we have to show the amount of tax on the receipt. So what Debbie has done is gone in for every single product and figured out, here's the percentage of tax in Chicago, so here's what we're going to charge, so that with tax it ends up to be exactly $20 or $30 or whatever the whole dollar amount is.
She has done a ton of work.
So
thank her for that. She's amazing. And she has done many practice sales, random items, 2 things, 4 things, 6 things, and each time it has come to a whole dollar amount. Now here's the scoop. So yesterday I was messing around with how to add items for these I Still Do things and come up with simple keywords for you to train your volunteers. And I was like 12, 13 things, and I noticed it was 142.01, 156.02. And the reason is if you do enough product, the more you have, because she can only do the decimal point, I think she said, goes out to 6 points. 6 spaces. And so eventually you're going to add it up. So here's the deal. You say to the guest, your total is 156.02. And if they're using a credit card, great, 156.02, not a big deal. If they're giving you cash and they give you 150, then just say, we'll cover the 2 cents. Just 156 is perfect. So that's what you need to do. So you will need to train your volunteer on that.
And it's usually
Oh yeah, you
can. Sure you can. That's yours.
That's yours.
You're going to put another one for somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is specific just for I Still Do, and this will be your folder. You're going to turn your folder in at the end of the event because you're taking notes on your checklist, and that'll kind of act as your eval and to help us to know what to do different for Portland and DC. But you'll get your folder back. So any notes you make in your POS manual that are for you, you'll get it back, okay? That's
Yeah.
why your name's on the front.
Yeah,
too.
if you want us to know something, please put it on the checklist. Because
Checklist.
we're not going to be able, we're
No,
not going to
we
go
won't
through
look
these.
through your POS
But you will
manual.
get yours back for
Yeah.
Portland and yours back
The
for
POS
DC.
manual will not be updated, the checklist will. So if there's something in the POS manual that you'd rather have it say or do or be, unless it's something that it's critical that we need to know about, but anything else, just write it in the checklist.
Yes. The other little cash penny potential is we are selling WTR gift cards and we cannot make that whole dollar amount. It's $149.99. And I don't know all of the specifics, but that's what it is. And so that's fine because we're going to be flexible, patient, and gracious, right? So the reality is if somebody buys a WTR gift card, they'll probably put it on their credit card because of the price amount. But if they do pay cash, then we're going to send a few pennies, right?
We talked about that. Did you talk to Gary and Sandy about that?
No, I'll figure that out. What Doug's vision was just send 10 pennies in your bucket, and if someone gives you $150 for the $149.99, then we can have a penny to get. Or you ladies will probably have pennies in your purse. No,
There's
not on the gift
ever-
card because it's not a product, it's a event. So there's not tax on it.
And I think you'll get 20 gift cards per store, so I'm thinking that means you all get 40. But,
Probably.
But so if you do have a run on gift cards, once you reach 20, then you're out too. So, but I think that's what Mitch decided, just to do the regular 20. I'm sorry.
So if we sell out of gift cards at one store, then we can share.
Right.
Like we,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most likely, we're not going to run out. I was going to ask you
Right.
if they're
If the
available
gift cards
at that
are not
price,
on the
but-
banner, I don't know if anything is going to be said from the stage. I don't really perceive
Yeah.
you selling any.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that somebody,
I don't know. I'm guessing they'll promote WTR, but I don't know.
I have no
I
idea.
haven't asked Bob.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's just that somebody wanted them there, and so they are.
Okay, check sales,
Now,
same.
one more question here, because I'm always confused at a WTR. Okay, what's the price of the gift card? $149.99.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the cheapest way? Because it keeps changing.
It's also the group rate. So if somebody, yep, it's the event price, and
I don't think anymore. I think the
it
group
was
rates.
last season. Did it change this season?
Alan, can you look that up, please, real quick?
Group rate for WTR.
The $149.99 of the gift card, I thought that was the least expensive way somebody could go, because I thought group rates went up to $89.99 a person.
Thank you, Alan.
I know, I think we were all telling them one thing, and then it wasn't exactly correct. That's why it was
Okay,
Yeah.
Alan, I'll get that for us.
Yeah.
Good question. All right, let's crank through, because I'm sick of hearing my voice. You probably are too. My kids would say, yeah, Mom. Page 8. Let's see. Some of these, in the middle there under number 2, for the branded items, all the branded items that are the black with the I Still Do logo, train your volunteer to type ISD, and then ISD, key, cap, lip, red, blue, hoodie, water mug, pack. Or if you want them to say marriage pack, please, 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 marriage packs need to say ISD, and either marriage pack or ISD pack, because we still have the WTR marriage pack in POS, and it's a different price, and it's a lower price, and we don't want them to see that, because it, and if it does,
You can't take it out of the store.
well,
It just makes a lot
it's
more
so
work
much work for Debbie to take it out. And here's the
Because she
deal.
has to archive it. Yeah. it's
A
just-
guest isn't going to see that anyway. And if a volunteer does and questions it, then you can say it's different than, it's a different pack. You're getting the mug, you're getting a DVD, you're getting the free bag. So it's a different pack. So if they ask, but that's why I have there, I still do. So use that in training, ISD, and it should clue them. Just tell them anything that's black with the I Still Do logo. I guess the water bottles are red, but anything that has the I Do logo. And the marriage pack is in that I Still Do bag. So that's an ISD.
It's a branded
pack.
item.
Yeah.
Anything that's a branded item, put ISD in front
Yep.
of it.
T-shirt? No, 'cause
Yep. Yep, ISD blue, ISD red. And it's not, you know how our WTR shirt is navy, this is blue, but hopefully the shirts will have scan codes, so it won't be a big deal. But if that's true, there you go. So still teach them how to add an item if they need to. For the Barbara's things, even though it's ETH, Ever Thine Home, I mean, come on, people, we're not going to, our poor volunteers won't be able to think up all those acronyms. So just teach them. It says we still do on it. We still do, and it'll be frame or plaque. And if they want to type the word we still do frame or we still do plaque, that's fine. But we still do frame or plaque.
Not
No,
it
we
needs to be
still
we still do.
We
Did you
still do.
try
And it's
just plaque
highlighted
and
there.
frame? What happened when we did just plaque and frame? Did
Plaque
they come-
and frame works
And
too.
probably would work, because that's how Debbie's done.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you want to just do frame, just do plaque.
Much less.
I think it just, let me
Yeah.
try. I'll check that right now
Yeah.
while you're sitting here.
But they will not have barcodes.
Well, actually, the frame or the plaque does, but it's on the opposite end of the opening of the bubble wrap.
And it doesn't scan through the bubble wrap.
So
it's
it doesn't
it would
scan
take
through the
too
bubble wrap.
much time.
We have not seen how the frame's coming packaged.
Can we ask them to package that the opposite way?
No.
No, not at this event, maybe not.
Maybe we could ask
No.
Jim eventually.
I mean,
but
I don't know. That's the way it comes
Because
from
like
the
everyone I
product.
got, I switched the way they were in the bags at the last WTR.
Well, more power
I
to
went
ya.
and switched it all. That's what I did.
I don't think you'll have time
no,
at
not
this
this
one.
place, you wouldn't. No, but I mean at WTR.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I did. I switched it. So that
Okay,
was-
so then Art of Marriage. Again, we know what AOM is. Our volunteers don't. So just type them to put sample in there. Actually, AOM sample is better because we do
Yeah.
still have all of the other sample packs for the
Right.
the
AOM
home
sample,
builders in
it
there.
should just bring up the AOM.
But it does say, or you could say connect maybe, connect sample.
I'll try that too.
Try that.
I'll work on these just real quick.
And then all access pass, it does have the scan code, but if you need to, if it doesn't scan properly, just all access is fine. The rest of that stuff is pretty self-explanatory. It's the same as WTR. Read it, do
question,
it.
if our WTR gift card doesn't scan, how is it in there? WTR gift card 2014 or what? Or 2015 or what?
I
It'll be
think
in
this
that.
is the same one.
It's the
That's
same as
in
the
there.
WTR. Yeah, so
It's-
WTR
yeah.
gift. Yep, page 9 is nothing new. Just look over it. All right, let's quick look at the appendix so you know how to log in, and then we're about done with the things that are new for this event. Page 10, you'll log in the same. You'll select your store. When it comes to store, it's Chicago ISDU Practice Store or Chicago ISDU Event Store. And then she has the event code after that. I just didn't put it in here there because I didn't know it at the time. So it's one store. We're all 9 of us. It's one, I shouldn't say one store, it's one event.
Yeah,
So
we
when you're
have
choosing a
different
store, we're all going to go in under
ISD.
ISD practice when we're training and ISCD event when we're doing it. So here's the deal, ladies. You need to really, 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 really make sure you put your pins in properly. So let's turn the page to page 11 and we'll tell you how to do the pins.
There's the group rate.
Great. So yeah, you can with confidence tell them $149.99
It's
is
the best
by
rate.
far the best rate possible, and it's an event rate
I
only.
thought it was.
Yeah, fabulous. Thanks, Alan.
Yeah. Okay, real quick before you go on, it needs, if you do AOM sample, it comes up with the connect, right? It
Yeah.
adds it automatically. They don't
That
have
must
to
be
select
why
it.
I put it there.
So, and then the we still do plaque or frame is going to be the best thing to do because if you do just frame or plaque, some other things come up.
Okay.
So, okay.
Some testing things.
Yeah,
that's
some
what I thought.
testing things.
So we still do
yeah. So
plaque,
what she's
we
got
still do frame.
is the best to do.
Okay,
And then
page
I'll
11.
check the WTO.
So now you log in with your name and username. You select your shop location, which is Chicago, and you decide practice or event. Then you select a register. Now in your red folder, please find, Tam, where are those? On the right?
They're on the left. They were on the other side.
Oh yeah, my folder doesn't have it. So look on the left and pull out, I highlighted them for you. We've got some screenshots. And then I have your PIN numbers. Here it is. It looks like this, just this little spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, got it.
And those don't have A or B on them. It's just a
Nope, because these are your cash registers. This has nothing to do with the drawer. These are your laptops, your machines. So, so we'll just use Linda for example here. Well, we'll just use this because it's typed here.
Yeah.
You select the register, and your registers have your names on them. Now, when you look on the screenshot document, there's screenshots. So like Liz, your register 1 is on there twice, but that's because Debbie had to move it for her screenshot. So you'll have one register 1, one register 2, one register 3. So that's your register number. And then the second part of your PIN is the store number, where we say Reg 1, set 6. This time it's Reg 1, store 6. It's the same thing. And in your head you might say set, but we're not doing Zytex. That doesn't define what our PIN is. What defines your PIN is your store number. And so we've tried to make it as easy as possible and have you do for your PIN then, and it's on your spreadsheet. So if you are store 8, it's Reg 1, store 8. So my PIN for Reg 1 is 18. For register 2, it's 28. Register 3, 38. Because remember, register always comes first. Store or set number always comes second. So keep this, tattoo it, do like my kids, write it in Sharpie on your hand.
Well, all you have to do is just keep this in your folder.
Yeah. Well, and here's the deal. Let's look at the bottom there where it says light speed, and it shows you what it is. So if you read that, you will know if you're correct, because logged in as Reg 1 set 8, if you put in the wrong login, it will say something different there. If you flip it and say register 8 set 1, it's going to say that. So please, when you log in and use your PINs, just read it. I do at my WTR every single time, and I make sure. But I say it, I kind of whisper, Reg 1 set 8, practice store, Reg 1 store 8, practice store. So here it says Reg 1 set 8. Debbie couldn't change that, but it's going to show up here. She did it to say store 8. But just make sure the numbers match up, and you'll be good. And if you have a question,
over here it says
call me on the radio.
No, she's saying right
So,
here, what it comes
Debbie-
up at the top of the machine.
Debbie helped me with this, and she said, Tammy, think of the alphabet. R comes before S. So R, and it's like now I won't ever forget that because so R comes before S, so it's always register then set or
RS,
store,
register
RS.
set.
That's a good way to remember.
Yeah, and how
We
many
need
years
each
have I
other.
done this?
You
It's
need to
like,
check both of them.
Yeah, you need
Yes.
to check both.
yes, yeah.
Because you can select the correct store, but do the PIN wrong. And the PIN is going to show you Reg 1 set 8. That's, if you do it correctly, that's what it'll be. So you just need to determine, I go left to right in my registers. You do it however makes sense to you. It does not matter as long as you have a register 1, 2, 3, and 4, or 1, 2, and 3. Okay.
And you'll have 2 different store numbers.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
You make me think hard. No,
We already covered everything on 12. I think we're set. Refunds, 13 and 14, you know how to do those, but just review that in case you need to. Giveaways on page 15,
It is in
and
here?
we're good.
It's in
Yep,
here if we need
yep.
to do a refund.
Yep.
Yep.
And again, and please don't say to your volunteers, if you've worked at a WTR, we give you a discount, but we're not going to give you a discount here. Don't do that. Because again, I said in here, just for your sake, no discounts.
They do not. I mean, so if you have.
what you're giving.
If somebody, they know they're getting the all access, they know
Right.
they're getting the T-shirt, they know they're getting lunch both days, they
Right.
know there's
That's what I'm
coffee
saying,
and
they give them
donuts.
things, so-
Right, it's very different. And so if, I wouldn't bring it up to say, if you volunteered at a WTR, you know we get a discount, but we don't give discounts here. Just say nothing. And then if someone asks you, hey, I know I work, because, my volunteers that are coming from Appleton have worked 2 or 3 events, so they know they get that discount. But so they might come up to me and say, hey, can I get a discount? And I'm saying,
Right.
oh, I'm sorry, this is a completely different event. Here we're giving you the all access
Right,
pass
right.
and the T-shirt and whatever.
Right.
So privately, if someone asks, of course, and thank them for being there, just value them as much as possible, just like a WTR, but just be
Okay,
positive.
question on volunteers. They
And
know.
then let's do this question. Then
Oh.
let's take a stretch break and use
Okay.
the restroom if we know it. We'll grab our lunches. The men are going to come down in just 2 minutes, and then we'll have a working lunch and can ask questions during lunch.
Right.
But let's
Do
do
you rather
this
I
one.
hold it?
No,
till-
go ahead.
No.
I might forget it by then.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
The brain.
They know ahead of time that they will not be in the arena.
Yes.
Okay, so that will not be a surprise to them.
Correct.
Okay. The second thing, how do they get the all access? We give that to
Nope,
them?
nope. Don't give any of those away. And
Okay.
I'll probably talk more about that next Thursday because it's possible that Tim is going to give away the all access to people who have purchased tickets because he feels like, you're giving free tickets, we got to give something valuable to the others. So if that happens, just like at a WTR, do not give away a gift certificate and do not give away an all access. What they're going to do is email the guests. And for the volunteers, they're emailing the volunteers and then they'll have a code and they do it all online.
So they're not getting the actual
No, they're not
thing to
getting the
take
piece
home.
of paper.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
or the card or whatever.
or the card
it
or
is.
disc or whatever it is.
Right, it's all online.
And that
the
we don't
same-
have to do any
If
of
Tim
that.
decides to give that away to the guests who have purchased tickets, then I'll update you on how that's going to be
Okay.
because they'll come up and say, I want my free pass.
Yes.
And so we need to train our volunteers. So we'll either direct them to call a GSR because maybe they didn't read the email or maybe they signed up with a group from their church and so we don't have their email. There could be a lot of reasons why that gets missed. Or maybe they saw Family Life email and said, delete, I don't need to read that. Who knows? But so we'll either direct them to a GSR online or the Family Life booth on site. But I'll let you know that if indeed that happens.
And the T-shirt will be given to them when they check in the volunteer perks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they'll
And
get
that's
that
their
on
volunteer
Friday.
shirt.
We don't give them anything.
We don't give them any perks.
get
really.
their-
Okay.
No.
Just your lovely smile and getting to
Yeah.
work with you for the weekend. They'll get there and check in. They'll get their credentials. They'll get their T-shirts, and don't have them put their T-shirt on Friday. Let's
Right.
keep it clean, especially since
Yes.
our people have white. That's their dress code for Saturday.
Right.
So they'll come
And
dressed however
Cynthia
they
will
are.
probably tell them that when they check in on on Friday. But just,
One quick thing, too, as far as your volunteers, just make sure they're always standing by the thing. When I volunteered, Doug and I volunteered in St. Paul for the I Still Do like 12 years ago. And I remember specifically, sweet Cheryl Spangler and Cindy Blunier were training us. And they actually said, it's quite possible at your weekend that someone is going to fake a heart attack. And so if you see someone having a heart attack right in front of your machine, don't go and help them. Someone will go and help them, but you stay by your machine so that nobody grabs your cash drawer or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I remember that. I'm like, do we have to say that to our people? I don't know what the chances are of
will
that
the cash
happening.
drawers be locked like they are the WTR? Will they have the lock
The
in them?
cables,
The
locked
cables,
to
the locked
is it
cables?
possible
Yeah, we're going to lock them.
to a table leg?
We'll do our best to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they'll
that's
try.
what I'm thinking.
And
so
we'll
they
have
should
our
be locked
keys.
somehow.
So if it's quiet or if you need to use the restroom or something, your guy will be there.
So if you
No.
do that, I'm not sending the keys to have for the locks. They're only having keys for the cash box.
Oh.
So,
So keys for
All the
the.
AP guys, Stephen has given them all padlock lock.
okay.
We don't need to give
Okay.
it to them.
Okay.
So I'm not sending the red lanyard. All that I'm sending are the cash box keys.
Right. Yeah. It should be totally fine. Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, don't say that. I just remember that was ours. Okay.
Yeah.
But just ask them to always stay by the machine unless you dismiss them. And of course, they're going to have to use a restroom. And then at lunchtime, we're going to have the AP bring you lunch. So it will be your husband. He'll bring you lunch on Saturday. Friday, we can go to the hospitality room because there won't be any candy in the drawers. But Saturday, just like a WTR, you'll be staying at your store the whole time. So your man will bring you lunch, and you can stagger your volunteers. Our lunchtime for the lunches will be ready for the volunteers before the guests are dismissed for their lunches. So by the time the guests are dismissed for lunch, our volunteers will have eaten and back so that if there's business at the store, we can take care of our guests, and they won't faint from not eating, so they'll be fine. All right, let's get our lunches. Let's take a quick break, and then please keep asking questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. So in other words, our people are with us all the time,
Our people are with us all the time.
unless we dismiss somebody to go.
Right.